don't get me wrong. I'm happy that the Toronto Blue Jays got a win. That was a much-needed victory, at least to end this series. But it's time to start asking the bigger questions around the bigger picture of this team. We're going to get into all that on today's episode of Locked On Blue Jays.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console needed. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. As always, I'm Braden Iwasco. He's Carter First. You can find us on Twitter, Braden5 Iwasco. Carter First too as well on our main one, at Locked On Jays. And you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Locked On Blue Jays for the post-game recaps, everything like that. As well, if you're new here to YouTube or you're listening anywhere else, make sure you head to the YouTube page anyway. Hit the subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. You guys got us to 25 or 100. We really appreciate it. You guys have no idea. It is awesome. We've had some great comments as of late that we're going to bring up next Tuesday for the mailbag episode. I keep hammering that home. So make sure you guys drop your comment that you want answered, and we will try to do that next Tuesday for you guys. So this Tuesday coming up. So where do I want to start? I guess, Carter, let's talk about the game. By the way, before we actually get into that, got to host the 680 CJB Sports Show for the first time. Carter hopped on with me. We had a nice little chat, my man. So that was an absolute blast. Thanks for popping on with me.
Yeah, anytime. Obviously, just itching to get back into the podcast game after, taking my third ever personal day in the year and a half that we've been doing this podcast. All it took was me just disappearing for one day to get a little bit of joy back, I guess. But hey, I mean, if we lost this game, we were going to be sent into a downward spiral. I don't know if I would have had joy for the next 3 months if you lose a series to the Los Angeles Angels. Or if you get swept by Los Angeles Angels. It's already bad enough that you lost that series to the Los Angeles Angels without Mike Trout. I know they had some good pitchers this series. They had some of their top guys going, Tyler Anderson, Yusei Kikuchi. Obviously, we know a lot about him. But overall, yeah, not the greatest taste in your mouth after this series. But hey, at least you kind of do end off on an okay note. You actually score some runs. The first time the Toronto Blue Jays have scored 8 runs since that first series in Baltimore. So especially the way this game started, I just want to start here. You get the first inning. I was like, oh no, here we go again. We're watching this late at night. Like, it's already we're both pretty tired, obviously. This series has kind of been beating the crap out of us. I'm sure you guys in Toronto, if you guys have been staying up for these games, watching the brand of baseball especially, it has not been that fun. You see that first inning, Vladimir has his pitching wedge out this entire game. It's that bloop single, Bichette single up the middle, Santander, another single, strikeout. I thought that was going to be it. I thought that might have been the end of me on the podcast. I was thinking about hanging up the cleats after that. But hey, the Blue Jays do come through. They do have some other options throughout the game. Just end up scoring 8 runs. Daulton Varsho obviously had a home run in this game. So kind of saved a lot of Toronto Blue Jays mental states. I think not in a great spot, but definitely better than we could have been if this was a series sweep.
Holy smokes, dude. Totally. I was on my way back from work. I watched the first couple innings at work and then headed back. And I was listening to it on the radio broadcast, or it's not really the radio broadcast. It's literally just me playing the game over my phone from Sportsnet Plus. I was just like, oh my God, it just kept getting worse and worse. Not only did the Toronto Blue Jays not be able to cash in early on, but they give up 4 runs in the first 2 innings. And you're like, oh my goodness, this is going horribly. And I show up at home and I'm like, I didn't even know what to say. I had a McDonald's Coke in one hand. I think I walked to my room, turned the TV on in my room, and me and you just sat in 2 separate rooms watching this game. I thought this was going to go horribly. So great that they were able to get this done. I think that a lot of the complaints we have been having with this team are still definitely there. And we're going to talk big picture for a second when we get into that second segment. But at least the timely hitting aspect sort of happened this game. Again, there still was points where they could have driven in more. They had plenty of opportunity to. Did it happen? No. But in other situations, they were able to get runs across. In some crazy plays that happen, they're able to score some runs that sort of led to the big inning. So again, there were points in this game that made me very frustrated, but then there's other points that gave me a little glimmer of hope yet. So uh, I think at the end of the day, Carter, how much are you taking away from a series loss, but this game win specifically against the Angels?
I think we're kind of in the same spot that we were honestly before the series. Because at the end of the day, when you're looking back at this 17 game stretch, the Toronto Blue Jays are 5-12 over their last 17 games. This is the Los Angeles Angels we're talking about. We were going into the series saying should be like a fairly easy series win. They have one of the worst bullpens in all of baseball. They are one of the worst teams, in my opinion, in all of baseball. Not quite as bad as like the Rockies, the White Sox, but kind of in that same realm. This is a team that you should be taking advantage of, especially if you want to be a playoff team. We talked about how last year, like the Yankees, the Rays, who they did in 2021, 2022, can't remember which year they went on that big run. But these teams are beating the bad teams, and they're taking advantage of teams that are struggling. The Los Angeles Angels were struggling going into this game, and all like typical Toronto Blue Jays somehow find a way to ignite some offense, to ignite some run scoring in the Los Angeles Angels. So overall, like this game, definitely a good one to win. But when you look even just at the series, like you didn't really get to the bullpen a lot of these games. You didn't have that timely hitting a lot of these games up until this third game. There still is a lot of problems with this Toronto Blue Jays team. And they struggled immensely against the Los Angeles Angels, who do not have a good pitching staff whatsoever. And now you go to the Seattle Mariners, you're into Seattle, and they have one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. So it doesn't get a whole lot easier. And again, maybe they can carry some of this momentum that they did get from this last game of the Angels series. But you have some tough pitching matchups, and just the way the recency bias has gone with this team, I'm not fully optimistic that this could be something that can do consistently.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's the consistency aspect, and something that we just haven't seen from this team all season long. And you know what? I got to bring up this part of this because I don't want it to be negative, and this all sounds negative. I'm going to put one little glimmer of um, fun I had with this series when Max Scherzer went up into the broadcast booth with Buck and Dan. That was a lot of fun. That is exactly how I picture Max Scherzer in the dugout all the time. He is always pitching first, always baseball in the mind, a guy that just loves baseball. He's been throwing a little bit. Hopefully, soon you see him pitching to, in some actual ABs. He did get to see some live hitters just in the Toronto Blue Jays, but hopefully he gets back on the mound soon enough and can, round out this starting pitching. But again, starting pitching hasn't been an issue. I mean, even Chris Bassitt today, Carter, he gives up 4 runs, or well, 5, but 4 earned runs. Had 6 Ks. I went 6 innings. I don't know. I think this is a fine day from Chris Bassitt on a regular baseball team that can score runs. Again, it all comes back to the offense not being able to do their jobs, especially in big situations where they set themselves up to at least have opportunities to score runs. And I get so frustrated because with this team, it just sucks you back in, right? You have a little glimmer of hope, and they pull you back in. And that's what I was talking to Skyler with yesterday, is that I feel like they give you a little bit of hope and then they rip it away. And then they give you a little bit of hope and they rip it away. So I'm hoping that this can propel them forward and they can start to figure something out. But at the end of the day, I'm just seeing a big lack of consistency. And you hit the nail right on the head with that one.
Yeah, you're going to need your offense to score 3, 4, 5 runs pretty much every single baseball game if you want a chance to win that game. Toronto Blue Jays have typically, obviously, scored 1 run, scored 2 runs, no runs, especially a lot recently. It is tough to expect your pitchers to be perfect every single day, day in and day out. But I wanted to kind of touch on that Max Scherzer aspect of it. Max Scherzer kind of seems like just a landlord, kind of like he just comes around, collects rent once in a while, get you $15.5 million, goes up on the booth, talking to Pete Walker, shooting with the boys in the dugout. Obviously not doing a whole lot, not fixing anything up, not really helping the team too much, maybe providing a little bit of insight. Like say, like for example, like our dryer broke, maybe our line would be like, oh yeah, like we know where you can fix that. I'm not going to help you do that, but I don't know like where you could go to fix that. That's kind of like Max Scherzer. It's like if I was out there, this is what I would be doing. I'm not going to go out there. I'm going to sit here and chill in the dugout. But if I was out there, this is probably what you should be doing. So I thought it was just funny to see Max Scherzer literally do everything other than pitch for the Toronto Blue Jays. So hopefully he does come back sooner than later. But I mean, what a gig that this guy has, $15.5 million, just kind of, have fun in the dugout and just fool around with all the boys and all of a sudden the announcers now. But with this offense, I mean, we can kind of go into some of the positives today. And one of them is a guy that kind of has been a spark plug for this offense. And it has been Daulton Varsho since he has come back from the IL. 7 total bases today, obviously hit that home run. Just pimped the hell out of that. So fun to watch Daulton Varsho hit pull side home runs. This guy already has 3 now. He's getting close to Santander for the leading team home runs. Not exactly where you want to be with that. But Daulton Varsho, the at-bats are looking good. Obviously, we can harp on his defense for the next 45 minutes if we really want to with how good he is. And just lining baseballs, not trying to do too much in a lot of scenarios. Just, again, if he can be semi-consistent, doing a job later in the innings as well, having a sac fly that everyone moved up on. It's a very good game from Daulton Varsho in this last game of the Angels game.
Oh, God. Yeah, it was. And you know what? This is something me and you sort of harped on since the beginning of the season, right? Is that Daulton Varsho might come in and be that guy for this team because you're seeing the success he had in spring training. And I think, again, he is a guy that has all the pieces to be the hitter that this team needs. It's just, can it be all put together? Can he show up? Can then Vlad show up? Can Bo show up? Can Santander show up? Can Springer show up? And if all these pieces work together at the same time, this is a very good baseball team. But the problem is you can't expect all of these guys to show up, or you should be able to expect them all to show up at the same time, but it never happens. And watching Daulton Varsho play baseball, almost gives me the joy of what why I love baseball. The guy is a complete player who can hit for power. He can steal bases. He plays amazing defense. He is the epitome of a baseball player, Carter. And that's, I think, why it is so exciting to watch him.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you just get any upside whatsoever from this guy's bat. He has traditionally been a 20 to 25 home run hitter. So if you can get that in the middle of this lineup, especially with the way things have been going recently, that would be a huge bonus for the Toronto Blue Jays. Obviously, the home run totals, when you talk about anything home runs regarding this team, it has not been fun. They are tied for last in the league now after that Daulton Varsho home run in home runs. And now they've given up the most home runs, adding a couple, obviously, from Chris Bassitt today. That's not going to play when you have like a minus 31 differential in home runs. It is going to be tough to win ball games. We talk about, just remembering even the World Series, the Freddie Freeman home run, how much home runs the Dodgers hit. You kind of see how that leads to a lot of success. Again, tough to compare the Toronto Blue Jays to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Not necessarily the most fair thing to do. But again, that's a team that you're going to have to compete with. Probably going to have to play. Very good chance in the World Series if somehow, Toronto would just get their World Series aspirations for this team. Probably a little bit far-fetched right now, especially, when we're struggling to score runs against the Los Angeles Angels. But hey, one can dream. And, you got to be a little bit positive, obviously, when the Toronto Blue Jays give you those little minuscule moments where you can be positive. But much more that we want to go into, still some game stuff we want to go over, some individual player performances, bunch more we're going to hit you guys with coming up after this short break. Today's episode is sponsored by Trade Coffee. Let's be real. Coffee just isn't a drink. It's a ritual, a lifeline, and a thing that gets you from half asleep to fully functioning. And if it's that essential, why settle for anything less than amazing? That's where Trade Coffee comes in. Trade Coffee is the #1 coffee destination in the U.S., delivered fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're into a cold brew fan or a pour over purist, they've got roasts that you'll love. So we got actually a package from Trade Coffee. They sent us a bunch of taste tests, and unfortunately, they ruined coffee for me in the best way. When you start your morning, it's a coffee, like I said, is a ritual. It's one of those staples that if you have a bad cup of coffee, if it tastes bitter, if you don't get that cup of coffee in, it can completely ruin your day. I had these samples from Trade Coffee, and now the typical coffee that I normally drink does not taste nearly as good. So now I'm going to have to get another supplement of Trade Coffee to start my day the right way. Right now, the Trade is exclusively offering customers 50% off for 1 month, a 1 month trial at drinktrade.com/locked-on. That's TRADE.com/locked-on for 50% off for the 1 month trial. And that is drinktrade.com/locked-on.
Today's episode brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? I didn't. Didn't know that was a thing. Didn't know it could be a thing. Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Unlimited with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6. As easy as you stream your favorite shows, it's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. I wish this was a thing, or I knew about this, because I cannot stand having a console around, if I could just turn my TV on and immediately start playing games, that is an absolute win. And I was always a PlayStation guy, but if I knew I could play Xbox just on my TV and all I need is a controller and a subscription, I would have done that years ago. So an absolute win from Fire TV. So make sure you guys try to check this out as well if you can. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass unlimited subscriptions and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including the Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, the Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and the Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. So, Carter, as we continue on, I mean, again, we talk about the game. Again, we dive into the numbers and stuff on every single game, and at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the fact that we have to have the conversation around this season and what this team is going to be or what it can look like moving on. Because now, I mean, what are we? I guess that would be 37 games in.
Yeah.
Yeah. 37. So 37 games in. And again, I know some people are going to say it's too early. It's too early to start looking at standings, to start looking at where this team can end up. I'm sorry. Is that not the end goal? The end goal is the playoffs, I would assume, right? So we have to start asking ourselves, really, Carter, to you, does this team look like a playoff team? Honestly?
Yeah, early on in my off-season predictions, when I had this team, I had them being competitive in the playoffs, but I did have them just missing out. And because they had some holes that I saw early on in the season, some of them being a power bat, some of them just being a spark plug in the middle of this order, felt pretty good about the starting rotation. Felt it was okay about the bullpen. The bullpen's actually succeeded my expectations. Other than this last little bit, obviously some blow-up starts from Jimmy Garcia, Jeff Hoffman. But again, when you've seen what they've done this entire season, other than those, random blow-ups, I'm still very confident on this bullpen. But just with the lack of consistency in this offense, living through 2024, living through 2023, just seeing the same problems persist from year to year to year. You really have the same guys, the same foundation. So a lot of people, the Twitter haters, again, there is a little bit of validity to what they have been saying. It hasn't worked for 2.5 years. Do we expect that to all of a sudden change? Well, there is. Again, Alejandro Kirk's gotten older. He obviously has more service time. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is looking better than ever. Obviously starting a little bit work up to where he was last year. And a slow start, obviously, is the narrative that we're kind of getting tired of hearing with these guys. Didn't have Anthony Santander last year, obviously. So there is a more upside with this team. I think they will be a lot better than 2024, but I'm kind of sticking to where I was at the beginning of the season. I think right now they're still 3 games below 500. They've had a tough schedule, obviously, in April. But I still think I still think there's going to be a problem with this lineup. I did assume that somebody was going to step up, whether it was going to be an Alan Roden, a Will Wagner, just anybody, maybe Joey Loperfido that was kind of in the talks at the start of the season, but obviously haven't really seen him yet. Nobody stepped up. Nobody has been that guy to say, hey, this guy needs to be playing every single day because those at-bats are that good. He's helping the team win. So right now, my expectations kind of the same, trying not to get too high, not trying to get too low, but just looking at the way the AL is going, there's some teams that are a lot more competitive, at least early on, than I thought it would be. I mean, the Oakland Athletics right now are playing better baseball than the Toronto Blue Jays. So right now, I do still have, I think, the Toronto Blue Jays barely missing the playoffs.
Yeah, I had them making it. With the way this team's playing right now, and I could be wrong, right? I obviously I was wrong at the beginning of the year. I can be wrong again. I don't think that this is a playoff team. I don't think they have what we talked about in the first segment is the consistency, is the timely hitting. I think they have the pieces to be a good team. I haven't seen it all come together. And until I see that for a consistent stretch of time, for me to make the decision that this is a playoff team or whatever, I don't even care. If they're a playoff team and get bounced first game, I don't care. Like I want this team to be successful, and to me, success isn't getting just squeaking by into the playoffs. Not that I think that's going to happen anyway. So I'm going to say I was wrong at the beginning of the year. I don't think they're going to make it. I think they'll be competitive. I think that they're going to, like, down the stretch, we'll be watching games. I don't think it's going to be like last year where you see it then completely blown out of the water and, they're having to dump pieces. I think they're going to give it a solid shot. I can't see this team the way they're playing right now find a way to make the playoffs.
See, let's try to go through some of the names here and just figure out, like, hey, can it get better? Is it going to get worse? Like, where are we kind of at with some of these guys? Let's start with Bichette, around just under an 800 OPS, only has one home run on the season, hasn't really hit for that extra base power yet. I think traditionally what we've seen from Bichette, you can expect Bichette to get a lot better. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. with the home run aspect, I think you can expect him to hit more home runs. Starting to, again, have better at-bats, went 3 for 4 today, obviously. Anthony Santander, like, you can't expect him to be this at-bat for this long, right? I know the slow starter narratives, so that is one guy, like, you can see a huge jump from an offensive production. But then obviously on the other side of it, does anyone expect George Springer to have like a 925 OPS? I know the walk rate's off the charts. His approach is really good. So I think the walk rate will go down, but it'll still be like above league average for sure, probably in the top percentiles of the league. I don't think that will change too much, but I think you have to expect some regression from a guy like George Springer. Then, I mean, Andrus Gimenez, you talk about him, obviously the injury as well. He
Jesus.
can't get much worse to play, right? Like, there's
No.
way. Like, it's got to get better at some point. Nathan Lucas has been playing good baseball. Alejandro Kirk having some flashes. So again, like, I think this team can get better than what they're playing right now. How much better is definitely a conversation that we can have. But yeah, I do expect some positive regression, especially with this top of the order as we continue through the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's other guys that like have what are we expecting from Daulton Varsho, right? And he's been excellent to start his season this year. But yeah, that is the question I'm asking is when are these guys going to reach the level we expect them to, and are they, right? And I posed this question to you, Carter, on the sports show this evening, and I asked you, is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. currently playing as a $500 million man? And your answer was no, obviously. At what point does that contract, and that's a long contract. He's got many years where he can earn that money, right? He has a couple great seasons and he probably earns it. The difference is the consistency aspect. And I'm going to go back to consistency because that's the one thing that this team hasn't been able to put together is Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Anthony Santander, Bichette, Varsho, Springer, Kirk, all of these guys playing at the best level they possibly can be. And going on a stretch where they're scoring 12, 11, 10 runs a game, not every game, but you know what I mean, in a good stretch where they're getting that type of production from this order. And at this point, we're struggling to put together 4 base hits in a row without, having 3 straight strikeouts. Do I expect that this team goes 2 for 3 or 1 for 3 every series? No. This team is going to go on stretches where they win 5, 6 games in a row. And they'll probably go on stretches where they lose 5, 6 games in a row. The problem is, at the end of the season, how does this all even out? And that's what I'll be interested in. And I think last year you could put the blame on the bullpen or the starters not being 100% to what you need them to be. And of course the offense as well, but everything had a part to play. This season, I think you're seeing great pitching and you're seeing the bullpen, for the most part, be very good. The offense has to carry the weight, and I know I have said a bunch of stuff about this bullpen the last episode with Skyler, but at the end of the day, this offense needs to be this prolific offense, and it doesn't have to be a number 1 or 2 or 3 in the league, but you need them to be an above average offense, and we just haven't got that all season long yet.
Yeah, it's definitely not the expectation that it's going to be like a top 5, top 10 offense. Like you said, if they're even slightly above average, like even if they are average, I think that is a lot of things that people would take for this team. You said they could go on a 5 or 6 game winning streak with the consistency of this offense. I mean, maybe like farther on the season, the schedule is a little bit easier. But right now, there's no way that they can play 5 consistent games of baseball and actually score 3 to 4 runs at minimum for a 5-game stretch and actually win 5 games in a row. Last season, their biggest winning streak was 6 games. That's not exactly ideal. Again, when you win 74 games, like that kind of makes a lot of sense. You didn't really go on a big win streak. Those win streaks matter a lot, obviously. If you can win 7, 8 games in a row, I mean, right now, let's say the Toronto Blue Jays win 8 games in a row, instead of 17 and 20, they're 25 and 20. That's a lot better position to be in than where they would be right now. It's going back to the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to get too far into the contract stuff. We talked about this literally all off season. But the biggest thing with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is that, and the reason why people didn't want the Blue Jays to sign for $500 million is because, is Vladdy a Juan Soto? Is he an Aaron Judge? Is he a Shohei Ohtani? Is he even a Kyle Tucker, what he's doing this season? I think a lot of people would say no, and I think that is definitely a fair thing to say. I'm not going to write Vladdy off for this season this early. Like, again, it's very early on in May. He had an unbelievable stretch from around the end of May, obviously, to the end of the season. Put up great numbers. If you get another season like that from Vladdy, everyone would be very happy, obviously. But it just comes down to the Juan Soto contract when they had to sign that. And you knew that if Vladdy went to free agency, he was going to get that $500 million. So I'm not going to kind of hold that over his head. I just want to see Vladimir Guerrero Jr. play the caliber of baseball we both know that he can play.
Yeah, that you expect of him, right?
Yeah.
And that's the big part here. And you're not going to hold a contract over his head because the contract hasn't even started yet, right? So at this point, he is not a $500 million man. But in the next few seasons, Carter, and I don't want to say this, but if this is the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. we get for the next few seasons in his quote unquote prime, I think we're going to look back at this and say, yikes. But I 100% agree with you. I think you had to try to avoid him going to free agency. So I think their hand was pushed here. So again, when we've talked tons about that, but it just comes back to the consistency aspect of it all, right?
I got one more thing about Vladdy, and then
Sure.
we'll take it into the break. It's going to be tough for people to justify $500 million when this dude just can't catch a ball in the air. I've never seen so many opportunities where this guy the ball is not in the ground. Again, picking a ball, like I don't expect that to happen every single time. As in Barger makes a throw, it is a backhand. Again, it's not the easiest play, but you're an MLB baseball player. I've never seen a guy so many times in a season just miss a ball at first base when it's right in the air. That's not going to bode well, obviously, when you already got the haters, holding this $500 million contract over his head. But I guess you're not paying Vladdy $500 million to play defense. Gold Glover, I guess, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not obviously not on board with that. But some people think Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the best defender ever. And I would urge you to look at plays like that to obviously go for the latter. I want to throw in just a couple more positives quickly before we go in. Because, again, I was, a little bit negative on this podcast, obviously, but how can't you be with how things have been going? I just want to say you got 8 runs. Thank God, obviously. 5-4. I thought, get that Santander single. Traditionally, this team would not put up any more runs. It would have been 5-4. That would have been it. They get 2 more runs. Make it 7-4. Daulton Varsho adds another run, obviously, making it 8-5. And that just takes a lot of pressure off the bullpen. You have to go. Went Yariel Rodriguez. You went Chad Green. Didn't necessarily use a lot of your high leverage guys. That was a nice rest for them. Not in terms of just they pitched a whole lot necessarily. Just they didn't have to pitch in like a 1-run game, very high leverage, high stress scenario. So nice to give him that little bit of a mental break. Then just a couple more things. Ernie Clement, disgusting barehanded play. Threw it over to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I think this guy will be a pretty good kind of, plug and play for when Andrus Jimenez is out. And then just a heads up play by George Springer on the Addison Barger hit to first base. They go home for some reason. I was kind of surprised about that. I guess they didn't think they'd have a shot at getting Barger at 1, but then they throw to 1, hits Barger in the back. George Springer sees that, rounds third, and gets that additional run to make it 7-4. So I just wanted to give George Springer his props there. But Braden, anything else to add? Just overall about the game, just about the Toronto Blue Jays before we kind of head into the series preview.
Yeah, I'm going to try to stay away from the negatives too. I mean, I was pretty negative throughout this whole series, especially yesterday. This is a good win, and I don't want to take away from the fact that this is a good win. It's just you need to see this more. I just want to see this team win. I'm so excited when it does happen. And then I have to temper my own feelings because I have to come on here and be truthful and honest with you guys as well. So I'm very happy when this team gets the win. I just want to see it happen more. So, and I'm guessing you guys do too. So we want to come back. We're going to talk series preview and then get you guys off for the weekend because I'm exhausted. Carter, you're exhausted, and we got to get to bed because we still got work in the morning. And we're still somehow late. So here we go. We'll talk series preview when we come right back. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. No Skylar Peters to do this ad today, so you got me. And I love FanDuel. Their same game parlays. I've been betting on hockey. I've been betting on baseball. I've been betting on almost pretty much anything. CFL's coming up, NBA playoffs. And with the playoffs in full swing in the NHL and NBA, every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. I'm telling you guys, my friend, I actually was talking with Skylar about this yesterday, And he bet on the Jets comeback when Cole Perfetti scored the Manitoba Miracle goal. Unbelievable. How somebody goes, those people are better at betting than I am, because how you know that is a possibility of happening, great on you. New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, dude. Series preview, right? We move on. That series is behind us. It's in the past. And the Seattle Mariners. Not ideal. Not a team you really want to see coming off of an Angels series loss, that's for sure. And you get Castillo, game one. Gausman, Castillo. How do you feel about the series? Like, are you feeling like this team has a chance to bounce back? I mean, I know Castillo's a guy that the Toronto Blue Jays actually got to a little bit in the first game, not necessarily with the run production, but I think they were hitting off of him pretty well. And so I think as long as you can translate that into runs now for this outing, I think you could have success here.
Yeah, they have gotten a lot of hits in like a fair amount of games. But that's not really the issue. It's not getting on base, not getting the hits. It's actually driving in those runners. So we obviously have Seattle. This is in Seattle. So you have obviously have that park factor that does go in the pitcher's favor, which was not bode well for the Toronto Blue Jays. Like Skylar said on the last episode, you do avoid Logan Gilbert due to injury. But again, when you look at this Mariners starting rotation, they have a very deep rotation. You don't really avoid any of the arms that you necessarily want to. So I'll just quickly dive into the pitching matchups here. You got Kevin Gausman versus Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo, obviously no slouch for the Seattle Mariners. Bowden Francis versus Logan Evans. This is where that Logan Gilbert would have happened. So I guess you do kind of get a little bit lucky here. Logan Evans, not the most proven guy, and obviously a lot worse than Logan Gilbert. No disrespect to Logan Evans, just Logan Gilbert is that dude. And then for the third game, don't love the matchup, Jose Urena versus Bryce Miller. Bryce Miller struggled a little bit this season, but again, Jose Urena got DFA'd for a reason. Like, how much can you really rely on this guy? Again, I said on the last episode he pitched, if you can give us 4 innings, 2 earned runs, going to be pretty happy about that. But yeah, how are you feeling going into this series, especially with the lack of consistency from the Toronto Blue Jays bats and going against such a stout Seattle Mariners starting pitching staff and also bullpen?
I want to say not good, but in the same token, it seems like when I say that this team won't be good, they end up being good. And then when I try to have hope, they rip it away from me. So I will say not good and hope that they prove me wrong. I'm going to say a 2-1 or a 1, I guess a 1 win for the Toronto Blue Jays, 1 and 2 on the series. And I think it's going to be that middle game. I think this is a game where Bowden Francis has a little bit of luck to him. And he actually, the offense shows up and he doesn't give up 18 home runs.
Yeah, we need a bounce back from Bowden Francis. So I like that pitching matchup there. I mean, it would be typical fashion for, again, a guy that's, again, not very well known in the league to absolutely dial and dominate on the Toronto Blue Jays. But I got to be a little bit optimistic, I guess. I have them winning that game. It's really a coin flip for me in that Gausman Luis Castillo start. I think it's going to be similar. I think they are going to get to Luis Castillo a little bit. It's just, again, are they going to be able to come up with that big hit? And just the way things are going, unfortunately, I'm going to lean to no. So I do have, again, also a 1-2 series loss. I have them winning that second game. And then don't think the third game is unfortunately going to be close. I think Jose Urena gets kind of hit around a little bit. 2 more things I wanted to bring up. It's just overall this week, just the West Coast week, obviously. For us, 8:38 starts. For you guys in Toronto, 9:38 starts. Seattle, it's a little bit different for the weekend. You got some Friday late game. You got a Saturday night late game, which is pretty interesting. Sunday, I think it's at 3 o'clock. Our time, maybe 3:10, so 4:10 for you guys in Toronto. So overall, your opinion on just the West Coast starts? Are you a fan of these late night games? Like, does it change if it's a weekday weekend for you?
Yeah. So, okay. Normally when I work, I usually work evenings or, sort of later during the day, and I'm not getting up super early. And so I really don't mind these usually. This one kicked me in the teeth. This week has absolutely beat me to a pulp. And I'm sure same with you. I mean, this is your first week starting back at work. So it was just, I think the timing of this one is worst case scenario for the two of us. But for the most part, I actually don't hate the late games. Usually I'm back from work and I can sit and watch the games and enjoy myself and then still, get a good night's sleep. I think just bad timing for us here, but I think usually I'm okay with it.
Yeah, we're both night owls for sure. I wouldn't call either of us morning people. But yeah, so when you have to get up in the morning, you know that. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the weekday games anymore, unfortunately. They're a little bit different when I'm in school. I have a little bit more leeway. I do like the evening games as well. Weekend games, I'm actually pretty excited about the Saturday game. I'm going to be with a few buddies out in Lockdabani, so I think we're going to throw that on late games, especially like we're probably going to have a couple drinks, have a good time. So having that Blue Jays game on will just be a lot of fun. I'm excited for that Saturday night game. So it depends for me if it's a weekday compared to a weekend. I think it's a cool idea on the weekend. I love Saturday night baseball. So like the weekend, not a big fan of the weekday. And the last thing I did want to throw in is we got to ban that fan from Canada. Santander had two good defensive plays. One range to the wall. One I think he would have got to over the stands in right field. It looked like he went over into the playing field. I guess it was close, but I think you got to ban him from Canada. Maybe ship him to Alcatraz. You might have to go to Guantanamo Bay. Get that guy out of any sort of Toronto Blue Jays game.
Yeah, wherever Trump is sending everybody, send that guy there too. Uh, thank God. We'll see what happens. This is going to be an interesting series, and I'm looking forward to it. You know what? Weekend baseball just hits different for me. Weekdays, it's still great, and it's still nice to have on. There's always that's the great thing about baseball is there's always a game. But the weekend ones just seem different. You got a couple beers in hand, you got a couple buddies, you're all hanging out. It's just a little bit different. If you feel more free, you have more time. What I really want to do, Carter, one of these days is just like sit on the deck and bring a TV out there or something, couple beers, you have a good time. That's ultimate weekend summer fun there. Yeah, if you can put the Blue Jays game on the TV outside, man, that's going to be amazing one of these days.
Yeah, the only thing that can make that better is just the Toronto Blue Jays actually winning more consistently. It's a
That would
lot more fun to win. Winning solves a lot of problems. It's a lot more fun to watch a baseball team actually play competitive baseball and win more baseball games. Believe it or not, hot take from Carter First to end this episode on a Friday. Just wanted to say thank you guys for watching. The likes, comments, everything recently has been much appreciated. We have noticed that like a ton of you guys are not subscribed. I think it's 75. Every time I bring it up, it does get a little bit better, but 75% of you guys are not subscribed. If you guys are tuning in, coming back to all of our episodes, we appreciate it a ton. Also keeps our content at the top of your page so you won't miss anything. But yeah, excited for the weekend. Again, pretty busy weekend. This is kind of the busy part of our lives, honestly. Winter, you don't really do anything. You kind of just hide in your room, kind of chill out. And then obviously Toronto Blue Jays baseball on, and you have your 4 months of summer. So you're literally doing everything that you possibly can in those 4 months, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. Obviously, still having a blast on this podcast. Whether the Toronto Blue Jays are playing good baseball or bad baseball, obviously we want them to play good baseball. A lot more fun to cover a good baseball team. But anyway, having a good time doing it. Braden, anything else to add up before we head into the weekend?
No, I'm with you. As busy as sometimes it gets, at the end of the day, we're sitting here, me and you, just chalking it up, talking some Blue Jays
Some
baseball.
therapy sessions.
That's exactly what it is. This is where we help each other's mental health. So, and hopefully all of you as well. So, guys, have a great weekend. We're going to be back Monday. As I said before, mailbag episode on Tuesday. So make sure you guys get your comments in over this weekend. This is probably the episode we're going to pull from as much as possible. So get them in, and we'll see you guys on Monday.